Yeah, Donald Trump is the best thing for Europe because Europe is not the partner of the US anymore. So that means he forces us to unite again. One of the biggest problems over the last years, or in 10 years, or even longer, in Europe is that we're not acting or speaking with one voice. A lot of internal conflict, a lot of bureaucracy, and we relied way too much on our allies. So we still believe that Europe is a big force in the world, but we actually lost the status a little bit, and now we can try to get back to the table and get a voice again, but only if we unite again and start acting as a union, how we're supposed to be. So, and this is what he does. He forces us to do this because we cannot rely on the US anymore.
One big issue was as well in the last decades probably that innovation mainly came out of the United States. Bitpanda stands for at least financial innovation as well in Europe, being a big, if not the biggest platform for cryptocurrency. So how did you actually survive in that environment here, and what are your plans to expand?
Our strength here is that we really focus on Europe. But this is also, it's a big headache, because we do not have this desired capital union in Europe. But all these years we had to go to each country and do the whole regulatory game. So we became like the poster boy of regulation, which helped us. So Europe itself is a headache. I always say, when somebody says, "Oh, this company is coming to Europe," they're like, "No, they're not coming to Europe. They're coming to 27 individual countries, very fragmented, very heterogenic, different languages. Nobody, even not the regulators, talking to each other. So it's a USP, it's a headache USP that we have, that we focus so much on Europe. So this is one of our strengths. And of course, we have focused on making things very, very easy for a customer to use, convenience and localization factor. That's the key here in Europe.
Let me bring you back to the regulation. Do you think that Brussels has actually woken up to the fact that we really need to have one common market and not just like the lip service to have one?
The funny thing is, it doesn't matter who I talk to in Europe, even the people in Brussels, everybody says what we need to do.
Yes.
The big problem is we have so many layers of administration and bureaucracy that in the end, to reform something, you also need to change. And nobody, and especially not in politics, are cutting their own job away to reform something. So in the end, this is one of the biggest problems also in Germany. In the end, to reform something, you add a new administration and another administration, but the old one is still there. So we all know that we have to act, and we all know what we need to do, but in practice, it doesn't really work so far.
It feels like suicide if you're a politician and you really want to enact change.
Yes.
But still, I guess the incoming government knows quite well it's 4 years, and this is the time they have until we have a new election. Then there's this big threat of the AfD.
Yes.
Do you think they are borderline suicidal to actually do the right thing?
They have one big problem with this. On the one hand, they need to change a lot. The problem with change is change needs time. And let's say in 3 years, it's already campaigning. That means if you change something, you need to have the result that the people feel the positivity and actually some results. You need it like in 2 years. But this is exceptionally small time for changing something in such a big country. So the problem here is, yes, we need a lot of change, but on the other hand, we need results before the next election. Otherwise, And the problem is usually it takes longer, and politicians very often do not like to make decisions that need to be that are done very. Let's say the impact is very long, because the election is coming in between.